And good evening, everybody. This is Michael Filighera. I am with logicalsignals.com and tradershoppingtraders.com. And this is the Elliott wave update for the S&P 500 for Monday, October 4th, 2021. The market did seem to complete the minor wave 2 here in the S&P at Friday's highs. I was anticipating that we would get some additional upside this morning or at the beginning of our session today, and that did not occur. So I ended up putting the 2 up here at that top and then began to count what I then anticipated to come afterwards, which is the wave 3, minor wave 3 of the larger intermediate wave 3. Now, as that began, it's did in Globex again. We did get a nice little rally right up until the start of our session. They really gave it a good old college try to get up there to that 200-day moving average and get above it, actually, but failed. And on that failure, it just ignited round after round of selling. Now, what I think we have completed, we certainly have not completed all of the 3 of 3, but it had all of the characteristics that I looked for. Acceleration to the downside. Also very volatile upside moves. When we did get them, they were very tradable and they were very nice. They were extremely profitable. At the very end of the day, we got what I think is a very strange little pattern. But then when I thought about what day it was and what was going on, it fit very well. And let me just explain that if I can just bring this down one more and then open this one up. Come on, do it for me. There you go. These moves, we had initially, we had a rally up to 42.96, and then it failed. So we had a big topping tail that led to additional bar down. Then we had a strong bar up, another strong bar down. But it ended with a tremendously large bottoming tail, and then that produced a stronger close. Now, what that was, in my opinion, was the new money, 401k money. Quite often, about the 4th or the 5th of the month, so it's the Monday and the Tuesday after the 1st, we get new 401k money. That just seems to be when they transfer the money over to the funds, the fund managers, and then they, of course, have to put it to work. So that is not an uncommon occurrence. But as you can see, even on the 15-minute chart, this whole up, down, up, down, up, down is just, it's corrective. It's not bullish. It's not, if anything, it's bearish. But it definitely was not a bullish move, even though these moves were pretty intense. And, took the S&P up 12, down 12, back up 12. And so it was interesting. It was a good way to close the market. So what I now think is that we're just starting this 3 of 3 move. Now I'm going to go back out to give a little bit more clarity to that thought. Let me go back out to the hourly. Here we have intermediate wave 1, intermediate wave 2, minor wave 1 of 3, minor wave 2 of 3. So if minor wave 1 of 3 is from 44.70, 72 actually, down to 42.61, it's 210 points. And this cannot possibly complete all of that third, or even the 3 of 3. So what we have done is we had the 1, the 2, we subdivided once, and it looks like we're subdividing again. So how I'm going to count this is I am going to put, once this is done, because I don't think that this initial leg is done, but it's just going to be if we're in a third down, dropping down in a third, not this larger third, but just a smaller third, I don't want to start confusing it by saying this is subminute or minute, but we're down in a third. In that third will also subdivide into its own 5 waves. We just got started on that. I think we have one more down leg. Hopefully that does bring us below the low of minor wave 1. And then we'll get an additional rally, a 3-wave rally up. Again, I'm not looking for a lot, but we have to keep in mind that our volatility is increasing. So if the volatility increases to the downside, then the volatility will also increase on those bounces. And we saw that in several places today. And so I would look for first a new low. And again, this could happen during Globex. Globex isn't open for another hour and 30 minutes. But once it begins, I do feel that we're likely to see some additional downside. And if it does do it in Globex, then realize that we need to look for an ABC up. When I get done with that, I get an ABC up, and then an additional, that would be the 3 of 3 of 3. So it's like, you know, the third within the third type of a move is going to continue. And I would be looking for additional acceleration to the downside as more of what's happening to the market, but through some of the stocks in the market. I mean, today they pin their hat on Google and Facebook, both of which are in the S&P, but Google and Facebook. And I'm like, really? Those are the only two? There were quite a few others that also suffered and dropped pretty strongly. But we're beginning now to go into earnings season. So we have third quarter kind of coming up. Excuse me, we have the third quarter coming up. So we've got all those earnings reports, and I think, I'm not really sure exactly when they're all going to start, but they're coming, and they would filter through the balance of October. So several of the larger companies, they don't really start to report till the end of October. So I imagine we're going to be flying around as these reports come out for a while. But initially, I'm looking for maybe that at least a drop down to below 42.60. We have 42.37, 36, 37, 42.18, 42.01. Eventually I am thinking that this market is to complete this whole third wave, and minor 1, minor 2, minor 3, I think could come all the way down to 4,025, 1.618. It needs to be more of a 1.618 times the length of wave 1. And that's where I'm going to call that. That is a better relationship. So in other words, between wave 3 and wave 1, 100%, sure, it could do it. But we're in a larger, pretty large, intermediate third wave down. Coming in here just doesn't fit the bill. It doesn't feel right. It doesn't look right. It doesn't fit it at all. So that's why I'm going to look for 4106, 4075, and 4025. So the next comment we have, first one would be that, and it doesn't even fit there. 618 does not fit. 100% does not really fit. It may come in at this one. So I kind of been looking for this very first wave to probably do hold 42, 36, 37, put in a bounce, and then we get the big kahuna dropping us very quickly. And again, you can see when we get space like that between our support levels, acceleration can occur because we don't really have anything. We've got this, then that, then this, then that. And so from here, a drop of 68 bucks, because we're trading at, even more, 90 bucks, is a pretty big move. But I am looking for that. That's what I'm expecting to roll out. Not necessarily all tomorrow, but if it does, so be it. but we are going to see some additional acceleration to the downside. That is what I am expecting. And this is where eventually I feel that wave 3 could end up. Then we get a wave 4 and still a wave 5. And then that completes this larger intermediate third wave. So again, bearing in mind that out of waves 1, 3, and 5, wave 3, which is where we are right now, is often, most often, the longest and the strongest wave within that sequence. So here's what it cannot be, and I know I keep emphasizing this. It cannot be the shortest wave. And why I keep emphasizing that, because as you're counting on your own, and you think, well, I can count down 5, does that end the third? No, because if it does, we're going to be looking for the end of this third down here. Okay, it makes a new low, blah, 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 it fits, and in those things that I say, but it is not correct because it would then be the shortest wave. Even out of 1 and 3, it's still going to be the shortest wave, and it just can't be. And that puts that, yeah, it just doesn't happen. So that's why I wouldn't mark it as the completion point. And that's why I would leave it as a wave 1. Similar to what happened here, where he said to keep moving it down because the market indicated it as such that it would. Now, the only seriously other count that I could possibly put into place is again to move this back up here. I call this minor 1, minor 2, 1 of 3, 2 of 3. And now we're in that 3 of 3 move, but it's got to go a lot faster than all of this. So yes, there are some different ways that I can mark this, but either way, continue to suggest we're going to drop pretty precipitously and that it's going to continue. So for tomorrow, we may see a continuation of the upside. What that could be telling us, if we just, guys, these computers just annoy me that they can't pick up what my mouse is. Either that or my mouse is getting too old. I want to go back to my hourly and just finish this up. One other thing that I have to kind of consider here is that we did appear to get 3 waves up. So that's why I put the 2. But what if that's only A and this coming off is a B wave? And then we have to allow for this. We're going to get a completion of a C wave, and it likely will bring us back to 4367-ish or slightly higher. Now, that would leave this as a flat, a wave 2 flat correction. So close to the low, close to the high, flat, and ABC flat. That's what that all means. Have to allow for that. If it breaks below 4260, then this likely would turn into a 5 wave down. Wave 1, 2, 3, 4, and then a 5. So we have a bunch of possibilities. We now have to let the market tell us. If it continues to hold, so it doesn't really go down and break 4267.5, which out of this particular sequence is the low. And we just start to rally from here, come down slightly, but just picking up the rally, well, then we'll know. It's an A, B, C, and we're going to go back up. 2's not complete. We shift it over. And then, but eventually, or ultimately, regardless if we rally back up or back above 4,300 and closer to 4,400, it's not going to change the a little bit larger outcome. I'm still going to count it as a wave 2, and I'm still going to be looking for a very large wave 3 off of that high, wherever it comes in, if it turns and goes up again. So downside, initially, I'm looking for it to go below 4260. And this is taking that it doesn't, it maybe hangs out here. And as Globex starts and the other markets come online, that we go down and we break below 67.50, and then again below 60. Then that's going to complete the first little 5 down of this larger minor third wave. But then we get that ABC back up and likely to come back wherever this kind of tops out and goes. I would look for it to come back up into that area, to complete on an ABC, and then we start to accelerate and go down again. And that's the move that I still would be expecting as a minimum here before we do a little bit more and then go again. But ultimately, I think we come down here. And then I would be more satisfied that we've completed the 3 of 3, and then we're gonna get a 4 of 3, and we'll get a 5 of 3. And that, I believe, takes us all the way down below 4,000 for the first time in a very long time. So I think that the market's not really looking for that, but I think that's what can happen. Again, I just am going to continue to encourage folks to work with the moving averages. They were very helpful today in terms of guiding a trade lower, particularly when we were coming off pretty quick. The major ones here, again, if you're looking for a rally, you're going to get a hooking. This was the hourly, and here it's just come back up to the hourly 4. If I were to take this all the way down, and let's take it down to a 5-minute chart and open it up in that same fashion so we can see some of the internals, you can see it all coming in here. So we've got the already, it breaks above the 50, it gets acceleration. Then it comes back down, tests that 20, bounces right up off of it. Now it's going to sit up here because now, end of the day, we're just waiting. So as I said before, this does not look bullish to me at all. And so I'm just taking it as a small 4. We get another 5 down below 67.50, then again down below 60, and then we get another 3-wave bounce. Okay, this is where I'm going to leave it for right now, and trade smart and trade according to price action, trade accordingly with your moving averages. You can couple it together with the Elliott count. You can couple it together with retracements and with extensions that we put up on the charts, and keep in mind that the market is fluid. The volatility is increasing both down and up. And the next update will be on Tuesday, October the 5th.